with me is my Uncle Rex. The stream is live. Thank you guys for joining us today. And one of the reasons Rex said earlier that, not every Saturday we're going to end up doing a live, but we figured today we would do a live just because of having, Gabby's parents on as guests on Tuesday's podcast, and a lot of the comments that we got from that, and just to maybe even discuss some of the things that were discussed in those podcasts because of so many comments, positive comments, and things that we learned. Rex and I are learning so much about different things while doing this podcast after sharing what's happened in our families' lives, and a lot of other people sharing what's happening in their family lives, that the learning curve for me has been huge. I don't know about you, Rex, but I feel like almost every podcast, I'm learning something new or something different that I didn't know before.
And we have some announcements to talk about also during this live. So we wanted to have it for a couple reasons. There's a lot going on, a lot of it in Patreon, but I know many of you are involved in that. So you'll want to keep up on that. And one of them, Adam, is in Patreon. We said we're going to have our monthly just conversation where we get on Zoom and we're able to actually talk with our optimists. We enjoy that so much. We don't like waiting a month for that. We're going to do it a little more often just so we can be in touch. We get good input from y'all on what we want to do. And there's so much going on in the community. We value that input. Of course, you can give it also by comments, also to our email at rexandadam@gmail.com. But we like speaking directly to you. So, Adam, we're going to have another chat on, what do we call them, Adam?
They're just like they're just Zoom meetings that we can all sit and have a chit chat. I call it chit chatting because that's what we do.
Okay, and we can actually talk with each other instead of doing it through comments. And the next one we're going to have is a week from tomorrow. So that'll be Sunday, the 11th of August at 5:30 Central, 4:30 Mountain, 3:30 Pacific. Go ahead and do your own conversion for where you live.
Yeah.
If you're a Patreon member, please join us, and we just want to talk with you. We don't have a topic for those. We just want to talk with our optimists about whatever's on your minds.
You know what's crazy about that is the first one we did, and then the second one, it's growing, it's doubling in numbers. More and more people are coming on. And I feel like, as we talk to members of our community, that everybody has something to say about something. And it's so these topics, like you said, there's not just one topic. It could be all over the place, which it is. We're only supposed to go for 30 minutes, but I think the last one we went for an hour just because we had so many good conversations going on, and we're finding out that we have a lot in common with a lot of the optimists. Like, optimists are having more and more in common with each other, which makes it more. What's the word I'm looking for? I'll think of it. It's
communal.
Yeah, communal. How about that? I like it. Yeah.
More of a community. Anne Ritchie, hello, joining us from Scotland. She says, good to see us both. We don't know about Anne's vision, if it's scarred or not, but we like hearing. And let's see. That was from Anne. Lindsay spoke to Nicole, Gabby's mom, who is on the podcast. Lindsay spoke to her this morning, and she's so grateful for the support. I love our community, and that's one of many reasons. But if you read the comments from the podcast that posted on Tuesday, very, very supportive of what Jim and Nicole are doing. And and Gabby's other parents, Gabby's mom, Gabby's dad and stepmom. Of course, Nicole is Gabby's mom and Jim her stepdad that we talk to, but they do a lot of work together. They're doing so much. We're so impressed with how much energy they have, how much work they're putting into it. And one of the things I was impressed with, and I want to get your take on this too, Adam, is how good they were and positive about people in general. Even when we were talking a little bit about trolls, they were they were on the kind side and forgiving, and talking about, let's remember that not everyone's perfect, and just very good, genuine people.
Yeah, when we talked to them about being judged, because you and I know what it's like to be judged with our family situation. And then in their family situation, they had a daughter that was, in a domestic, relationship, and she ended up getting, killed. That there's a lot of blame also that goes on them from people that they didn't walk in their shoes. They don't know the whole story. They don't know it, but they just get judged. And I asked her, how do you deal with that? And because you and I have dealt with it a lot, and they have dealt with it a lot, I guess you don't get immune to it, but you learn how to just go, well, they just don't understand. And that's really been my biggest thing, is when people criticize me about things. Mine is like, you just don't understand because you don't know. And which is why I wrote my first book, and which is why we wrote our second book, to explain how we feel and what happened and all those things. And if people want to read the book, they can get a better perspective before they make judgment on anybody.
And then they can still judge if they want, but it is nice when we get to have our say in the process, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was great to hear from them how they, you and I have turned our tragedy into a silver lining, which is the name of the podcast. So have they. And so I love when people have, you face some crazy stuff that happens, trauma, depression, anxiety. You face all these things in life, and you come out on top by trying to find something positive, that out of something that's so negative, you find something positive in it. And that's where our podcast is focused. And so I love having those kinds of guests on.
And Jim and Nicole were great examples of that, of turning into a lot of action, working to get legislation passed, and working on a foundation, working on domestic violence awareness, and even causes that weren't related to what happened to Gabby, in fact. So very impressive. And it's done well for you, Adam. You're feeling pretty good. And Jen notices that you have a halo about you. I'm thinking maybe it's the clock behind your head, but
it's a clock halo.
Jan is thinking more spiritual here. So,
well, good. I'm glad somebody needs to. We need more of that. Look, I'll move the head just right. All right, go ahead. There's the halo.
Right, there you go. And our good friend KCL's checking in. Always good to hear from KCL. She's working on. She's doing some manual labor. Okay.
Oh.
But enjoys listening to us while she does, as does Dog Mom, who comments regularly also.
I love Dog Mom just because I love dogs.
Now, Dog Mom says, I really wanted to say, because of both of you, my best friend is free. Okay, Dog Mom, we're going to need a little more explanation on that.
I'd love to hear that story. I would love to hear that.
Yeah. Let's hear what that one is.
And tell us about your dogs. I like hearing people's stories about their dogs too.
Christiane Araujo. I don't know. I don't speak Portuguese, so I don't know if I pronounced that right. But checking in from Brazil. Okay. And Lee's commenting on what you were talking about, Adam, about the Gabby's parents and what's happened in our family. She grows so weary of victim blaming. Yeah, I agree. Let's all, wherever it is in the true crime world, let's I like the emphasis on blaming the criminals. Chad, Lori, Alex. Let's blame the people we know did the wrong things, not the people people that, yeah, maybe could have done things differently or maybe did things just right. You just don't know their perspective. Let's stick with blaming the people that we know are at fault. So,
Yeah, Rex, you do a great job of that whenever we get in these kind of conversations. And I think you always redirect things back to Lori, Chad, and Alex, which puts things back in perspective. It's them. They caused everything. Everybody else is just a victim of what they did.
Yeah. I don't know. I just cringe. Even TV shows, or politicians or whoever it is that says, well, you have blood on your hands. You have blood on your hands if you kill someone. Not
right.
The wrong thing. Not if you. Now, I understand that there are different people that might influence an outcome. And maybe if they would have done things differently, but I'm not going to sit in judgment on too many of those people because I don't know what opportunity they really had. But I do know that Chad, Lori, and Alex had the real opportunities here to not kill people.
Right.
Okay, Lindsay's switching the subject here and asking why you aren't on the Olympic basketball team, Adam. Why not even on the 3-on-3 team that just got beat by
Lithuania or Serbia?
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Jimmer fan, and he's on that 3-on-3 team. It was heartbreaking to watch them lose that game.
Especially at the end. I saw just the last couple minutes, and that was heartbreaking.
Now, here's the end of my basketball career came to this. Me shooting threes or deep threes, I'm fine with that. I do great with that. But me trying to guard a college level player that's way more athletic and faster than I am, I would have 5 fouls in the first half and not get to play. So pro and then USA men's basketball team, Lindsay, there's a lot of levels that you're missing as you go there.
Man, no kidding. Because you see guys that played college and they take on someone like, what's his name? He played for the Celtics. They did a series of, people challenging him.
Oh yeah, the white guy,
redhead.
Yeah,
what was his name?
He dominated all these guys. I thought because he was the 12th man on the bench and never got any playing time in the NBA. And then he went one-on-one with people that thought that they could beat him, and he just smoked them.
Yeah, and he was ruthless too. He didn't let him have anything, and they got nothing. All these guys that played college ball. Hey, I played D1 college. And
tell Lindsay I'm going to save all my shooting for the main event when we have our Olympics at the main event. Then she'll be able to feel the pain there.
Yeah. So let's talk a little. Well, let's acknowledge a few more people. The head case. I don't remember hearing from the head case. Good name. Sending love and support to everyone today. Happy Saturday. Thank you, head case. And that does remind me. Let me switch over here. I want to look back on our Facebook group because one of our optimists has just a terribly sad situation, lost her husband, and it's Tina, and the funeral service was today. And we just wanted to acknowledge her, let her know our love and our concerns with her, our best thoughts, our prayers for those of us who pray are all with her. And I know her name, but I don't want to say it because I may get it wrong. So I'm looking for Tina's full name.
That's a tough thing to have a spouse pass away. Gosh, my heart goes out to her. That's got to be rough.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. Of course, it's Tina Whitecotton. Whitecotton is what I couldn't remember. Tina Whitecotton Mason. Okay. So his celebration of life is today, maybe even right now. We don't know just where, but a lot of great thoughts in the community. Of course, a lot of love in the community, but we want to just acknowledge that here also. Okay. Let's see. Lee, greeting from Nashville. Thank you for acknowledging us. Let's see. Dog Mom says, so I love this podcast on YouTube. It made such a wonderful change in my life, and I'm grateful for both of you.
Oh,
okay. That's the explanation. So she's saying she's saying she's free.
Oh, gotcha.
That her best friend is free, but because it changes in her life.
Yeah, I've changed a lot since we started doing this podcast. Just my mental health, all that. I mean, the podcast has been really a blessing in my life too. And I know it's helping a lot of other people as well. Because when you hear about other people's stories and you know that you're not alone going through whatever grief or depression or anxiety that you're going through, other people are experiencing it too. It just makes you feel less stress, less anxiety, that you have a support group that kind of knows what you've been through or what you're going through. So yeah, the podcast has been great for a lot of people. I'm glad that it's helping you, Dog Mom.
Yep, we're glad for that. And another friend who said it's helped. That's that case. It's Shady Lamps.
Yeah.
Shady Lamps. Okay, our friend from Arizona that came to the meet and greet there.
Yeah, we like lamps.
So she has a different alias. So good to see you. And she's talked about how much it's helped her with anxiety and getting out. Of course, she does other things for it too, not just the podcast. But she was feeling good enough to come to our meet and greet and
brought us presents. I mean, we got some cool bags.
Very cool presents that I still use my bag.
Yeah, when you go to church, don't you put stuff in that bag? Is that your church bag?
Yeah, it's my church bag when I'm teaching primary.
That's right.
Lisa and I teach a 9-year-old class.
Yeah.
At church, and we use it because I always take treats. That's my nickname in there, as a matter of fact, Brother Treats.
Brother Treats. So when you teach at any kind of church and you're teaching kids, if you bring treats, that's all that matters.
That is. And, our goal, we're supposed to teach them something. We try to get some teaching in, some good religious teaching. But, for us, it's all about helping, as a parent, I just want my kids to be able to enjoy church,
That want to go to church, right?
Anyone that would help them enjoy church, I appreciate. So that's the way we do things. But I have them in my little bag from Shady Lamps there.
Yeah.
Okay, and Rhea, maybe Brummel, it may be Brumel. But Rhea said that podcast with the parents of Gabby Petitos was really great. It made me cry.
Oh.
Gabby's story, and then, of course, being the parents of Gabby, that is it's so tragic. Of course you're going to cry. That's just tragic that someone is two people lost their lives. I guess her boyfriend that killed her then took his own life. And of course, all of that affects the people around them, and it affects people all over the nation because it was such a commonly read news story. And so it affected all of us that were following it.
Yeah, a lot of people know the story. Also, with that story being told, I feel like we're learning more and more about what to do, what not to do, red flags, domestic violence, police officers, and so that's what, Nicole and Jim are really pushing for, is having people be more aware. And also, one of the big things too is missing persons. And so they're big on that. So they're sharing a lot of stuff on their Facebook. They said one of their friends that usually doesn't share anything shared something that was on their Facebook, and then somebody was found because somebody in another state saw it on the Facebook. And so they're really stepping it up and really trying to help and trying to get some legislation changed too, with all this being done.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And another comment on that from Barbara Brown. What part of your chat with the Petito family was your favorite? I was so thrilled to see them. Y'all looked great. Thank you for that. I know you're probably referring to the other three, but I'll take that. Take it where I can get it. What was your favorite part of it, Adam?
Well, there's a lot that I've learned from them. I really like that they've, like I've said, silver lining, turning a tragic situation into trying to do something positive. But I did like that, a lot of times we offer help. Rex and I told them, look, we would love to help you. We would love to be part of what you're doing. Let us do something. And they mentioned something about being in Vegas, and Rex and I were serious about it. It was like, we'll go to Vegas and help you with whatever it is that you need. A lot of times, when people ask you for help, you kind of just push them away and be like, oh, that's great, thanks. And then you don't really, it's hard for some people like me. It's hard for me to ask people for help. And they didn't ask for help, but Rex and I were offering it. Another thing, when somebody offers it and you actually accept it, and it's hard sometimes to accept help from others too. I don't know. Maybe it's just a me thing. Do you have that too, Rex, or no?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's so, I really enjoy helping people, but asking for help is tough. I really enjoy, this is a strange quirk, I really enjoy helping people move, because I hate, with an H, the H word, I hate moving. And anytime, and I've had 58 addresses in my life, and so I've moved a few times.
Military man.
And well, only 4 of those were in the military. So, but anytime someone helps moving, I just appreciate it so much. And so I like helping other people because I know how much I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's much easier for me to help someone than it is to ask for help. So yeah, we're serious, and we hope to keep in touch with them. Lindsay, maybe you can help us keep in touch with them. And when they come to Vegas and have a program, we'll be there. We can pass out flyers. We can usher. We can, whatever they need. We don't need
take out the trash. Well, I mean, literally anything to help.
Yeah, we don't need to be part of a program. We just know those things take a lot of work, and would be willing to help because their causes are so good and they're such sincere people. That was a favorite of mine too. But the favorite part to me was what I mentioned a little bit earlier, how they're just good people. They aren't vengeful people. We didn't talk much about the most recent lawsuit they're in. They are using the legal system to bring awareness, not for the money. They have a foundation for that, but they want to bring awareness. And the awareness in the case in Southern Utah, I was reading, didn't hear this from them, but reading about, they didn't want to say much about the legal case, but they just wanted to raise awareness so police officers follow the law, and that would have made a big difference in that case in Southern Utah. And so they're just good people engaged in a good cause. They aren't trying to pass blame, point fingers. They aren't trying to get revenge, just trying to help others. That was my favorite part of it, or my biggest takeaway for that. Another nice comment here from Sarah, the domestic goddess.
Nice. I mean, people's YouTube's names are so good.
She said, "Hi guys, y'all are so sweet, so happy. I joined the Facebook group after all this time. I finally did, LOL. I joined Patreon before Facebook. Such a good group of humans." I will echo that all day long, Sarah. What a great group of humans in our community. And as I like to do, I want to include those who aren't in the Facebook group, who aren't in Patreon, who maybe we've never heard from, because we know you're great people, because every once in a while, one of y'all who say, I've been listening to you for the whole time and I've never commented, and you're great people. We know the great people are out there and they continue to listen to us. We know this just because the numbers say that. And we love everyone in, and we love the group as a whole, everyone in the group and the entire group, because it's just a good group of humans.
I like the, a lot of the posts on the Facebook are great. One of the posts today was, and every time I get on our Facebook community, there's always some post about me hugging a cow. There's so many different things about me hugging a cow. There's a new one on there today, and it's a sign that says hug or cuddle or hug a cow in Hawaii. And I was like, oh my gosh, what an excuse for me to go to Hawaii to hug a cow. Now, this is where this needs to happen. And people are commenting on it and all that. But yeah, I love the sense of humor that a lot of people have, because, as you know, Rex and I on this podcast, we laugh at a lot of stuff. We have, dark humor sometimes. But since I do like that people have good personalities and funny and good people on the Facebook group.
Good people. And I want to comment on this from Paula Jonas. Thank you for all you do. You both have helped me through some of my past trauma. It's finally settling in with me. I mentioned this before. Adam and I struggle to figure out what we're doing that so many people get so much good from. And a lot of it's not what we're doing. It's just the fact that, well, we have a podcast and we're talking about our situation. And for some reason that helps people. And that's probably what helped Paula, is we're talking about it and other people in the community are doing the same. They're talking about what's happened to them, whether they're on the podcast or they're on the Facebook group or putting it in comments. And that helps people. And so I think that's what we're seeing that Paula is mentioning, and so many of you have mentioned. And it's because you have a place to come. You're safe to talk about it here.
And don't forget to mention it to coworkers and family and friends, because my big thing is the more people that need something like this, a safe place to go to either talk about their feelings or listen to what other people have and relate to other people's depressions or anxieties or things that people go through on a daily basis. You don't have to have like a major thing that happened in your family like us. But just I always pass the word along. Like if I do a pickleball lesson, I tell the people that I'm doing a pickleball lesson, when they bring up something, I was like, oh, well, I host the podcast and we talk about healing from, those kinds of things. It might be something you might be interested in. So I'm always telling new people about it. So that may be something that, don't forget, if it does help you, just know that it could help other people too.
And Missy said it like this on the same subject. I feel I can relax and actually breathe in this safe environment with love all my fellow optimists. And I think that's what it is. This environment's safe. And it takes everyone to make it safe. I will confess, I did block someone. I removed some comments on this last podcast. And they may have even been accurate comments, but they're really caustic comments about Gabby's parents and, saying, well, Gabby was guilty and the parents or, whatever it was. And I removed, the person made a few comments and finally I just blocked the person, because I don't know if what they're saying is true or not, or what degree of truth is there, maybe none. That wasn't the issue. The issue is that's not what this community's for. This community is about support and love and healing. And it's not about analyzing true crime. And some communities are about analyzing true crime. And those comments are very appropriate there. That's not what we're doing here. And so I just didn't want that as part of the podcast, because that's not what we told Jim and Nicole either. We about what our community is, and I love the other comments, all of the other comments, which are all very supportive and loving. I just felt really good about that.
And Missy's, is this our Missy, right?
Missy Holdy, yes.
Missy's such a good person, and Missy helps us a lot. She's one of our moderators, and she goes through a lot of the comments, and she battles for us sometimes when we don't know what's going on, and she's always got our back. So I always want to have Missy's back too. She's a really good person. She's sick right now, so we wish her, to get better soon. So thank you, Missy.
From COVID, yeah. Thank you, Missy. And Mel doing battle for us today alone. She doesn't have Missy with her moderating, so we appreciate Mel's work.
Mel's riding solo today.
Yeah. Kimberly's always had her back and works hard for us, as does Lindsay's. And we have other people that are volunteering and helping us. We really appreciate their contributions here in the podcast. Okay, talking about that, a few other I'll say announcements, other things that are going on behind the scenes. Once in a while we've talked a little too much about what's going on behind the scenes, and then it didn't happen for whatever reason. So we're hesitant to do that. But something you're going to see next week, because it's going to be recorded Sunday night. Ben and Alice, y'all know Ben and Alice Connor. They've been on the podcast a couple times. They've been on the live with us. Ben is the therapist. And they talked about what they do at the dinner table in their family to process things like the tragedy of being part of Lori Vallow's family. And a lot of us interest, including me. And okay, so what types of things do you say? What do you talk about? They're going to do just an added thing. It may be on Patreon at first, but then we'll put it on here too, or we may reverse it, put it on here first, and then more on Patreon. But they're going to record just little snippets. I don't know if they'll actually be a dinner, because they may not want their kids on here. They're three children. But they're going to give an idea of the topics they talk about, and they'll take the ideas from, what's the name of the cards? Oh, heck. Let me look. They're cards that are used for this specifically.
Not that humane for humanity, or what's that?
It's not that. That's disgusting. Gottman cards. They just have different topics.
Cards.
So they're going to pick a topic and just comment on it. So it'll be a short thing, 5 to 10 minutes. And so you'll see those posted. Also, speaking of Ben and Alice had another session of support for the supporters. It went very well. She wanted us to announce, or she didn't even ask me to. I just wanted to announce it because we support that group getting together. And the main focus is the fact that supporters carry a big burdens, and we're talking mostly supporters of people that have had trauma. It doesn't have to be a diagnosed PTSD diagnosis. It can be any trauma, but this is focusing on the people that support them, because that's a burden to carry too. That's difficult. And people are plugging into that and getting ideas for support, getting ideas for self-care. But that next one is going to be on Tuesday. I think it's a Tuesday. Anyway, it's August 13th. I'll look at a calendar while I'm talking. It is a Tuesday, August 13th at 5:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And the offer is still good. No one has taken us up on it, but the offer is still good. If you'd like to come to support the supporters and you aren't sure about signing up for Patreon, or you don't have the $10, it's the $10 a month to get on that level of Patreon, let us know. Send us an email at rexandadam@gmail.com. And the foundation that we support, where any profit from whatever we do in the workshop. I'm sorry, workshop. I'm thinking of business. Whatever we do here in the community, when there's extra money, it goes to the foundation, and the foundation supports things like this. Those of you that got books that weren't from other optimists, the Lorelai's and Family Ties books, many of you, I think it's 30 or 40 people asked for books. The foundation, well, a lot of people donated money here for that, and what wasn't covered by that came from the foundation. The foundation will pay your first visit on that level of Patreon, so you can see if you'll benefit from being part. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
I was just saying, if you just want to see if it's something for you, you don't even have to. It's just test it out one time to see if you like it.
Yeah. So that's coming up here in 10 days, 10-day countdown on Patreon. And you can look in the Facebook group or in the posts on the podcast or on the lives. The description has all the links to all the different things, to Adam's accountable program, to the books we've been talking about, to the Patreon group. All those links are in the description, so you can link in there. Okay, back to our starred questions. Lonnie Reed, I wanted to put this one up. Lonnie asks, do you guys have thoughts about having, Lauren and Dr. John? I get emotional about Lauren and Dr. John on anytime soon. You know, the last time we asked them, there's something weird that, they had to check with their agent and get permission, and it was just a weird situation. We haven't talked to them since that, so we don't know where that stands. We haven't followed up, but I wanted to bring it up because they have a mystery guest coming on in a couple hours here this evening on their podcast, and we still support them. Still love Lauren and Dr. John and Hidden True Crime, but they have someone from the Chad and Lori trials. I think someone from the Chad trial. So people are speculating, who it might be. So that's just kind of fun. But,
maybe probably a juror or something.
Could be. Yep. People are speculating, saying Zulema, maybe Alex came back from the dead. I don't know. But
who knows?
But yeah, we still value their relationship with us, their friendship definitely. But I was trying to think of their mentoring us. We still appreciate that. So we'd love to have them on anytime. Just haven't talked to them lately. Okay. Let's see. Paula Jonas said, thank you for the comment about putting the sin on the one that committed the crime. Yeah, instead of putting it on other people. That's we felt that all along, I think. Both of us, we've been talking about. Oh, we've heard this before and we haven't done this. And Lindsay, if you wouldn't mind just keeping track of this, I'm going to write it down, but it doesn't always make it to our meeting when we get together. You should have Dylan Round's mom on sometime. She is amazing. We've heard that maybe from you, Diane. Diane L said that. We've heard that before, but that's a good idea. Would like to do that. So we'll follow up on that. And we appreciate these ideas for people to have on.
Yeah, and you listen. You're an optimist. You're part of the process. You tell us what you want or what would help you. Rex and I are always asking. I always ask people, well, what could we do better on the podcast, or what would be interesting to you? Who should we interview? What should we do? So I like to ask those questions just to see what you guys want out of this. And if that's an interview that would interest you, yes, let's do it.
Yeah, and to show you how good Lindsay is to us, here's what you typed right away. I'll text her now about it. So Lindsay's texting her right now.
Good.
And Lee followed through. Dylan Round's mom, Candace Cooley, is a great idea for a guest.
Great.
So.
Yeah, we'd love to have her on.
Yeah, we appreciate those ideas. Kimberly B giving us a little bit news. I mentioned the sad news earlier about Tina's husband. Kimberly B says she might smack me later, but a big congrats to OG optimist Rachel, who became a grandma again today for the 4th time, a precious baby girl. Congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
And
Rex, what is it like to be a grandparent? Just tell me the joy of what it's like to be a grandparent, different from being a parent. Like, how is being a grandparent different than being a parent?
Oh, that relationship is so different. But I'll tell you, and I've said this on here before, I love the relationship with my kids when they become parents. Not just because, but maybe because there is so much parental payback when they become parents.
Right.
You know, you become so much smarter, you know, especially when they get a little bit older, you know, towards the teen years. But the relationship you have with your kids when you're a grandparent can be so rich and rewarding. I just love that. But, you know, it's great to be the hero, to come in. You know, I'm the Disneyland grandparent.
Yeah.
You know, I live away from most of them. So when we come in, it's a big event. We do fun things and then we leave. A lot of our visits to the grandkids are just weekenders because Lisa can't get off as easily as I can. So it is wonderful. But the relationship with my kids, I cherish even more because we have that in common.
That's awesome. Yeah, I heard grandparents say, I don't know why, but I just love my grandkids more than I love my kids.
Yeah, well, part of it is you are just a freaking rock star to your grandkids. If your kids build you up like that, and my kids do, so I appreciate that. You know, it's the same thing as being a parent. When I came home from work or whatever, and my kids were glad to see me, that's because my wife was pumping it up. You know, she is the PR person. If she wanted to paint a bad picture of me, they would be hiding when I came home.
Right.
You know, so that's the same thing with your grandkids. If you're a rock star to your grandkids, you can thank your kids that are giving that impression. I don't know how we got on that, but thanks for asking.
Congratulations, Rachel, on your 4th grandchild.
Yes, congratulations. Let me explore this one from Ana Franco. Education needs to train children in practicing processing emotions. First of all, Anna, I think there is a definite need there, so I am with you on that. That would be a great thing to do. And don't parents have the better opportunity to do that? So if they combined, if parents and education train their children practicing emotions, that's a great idea, because that's how you work through trauma, isn't it? Processing emotions, being able to talk and process things verbally with someone, connecting when you go through trauma. Good insight there. Let's see what this. I'm not reading these comments before I'm putting them up. That's probably dangerous, but there are a bunch of them, so I'm just going through. Mad Cows Moo.
Yes, these YouTube names are the best.
Love that. That would be me, longtime listener, but never commented before. But these are good people. XX. Exactly. We were talking about you, Mad Cow, and thanks for commenting. But we're talking about you and literally thousands of other people that listen, and we don't hear from. But we know you're there. We know you're great people like this because you are drawn to these people. And so we love the whole group, whether you're commenting or not. Okay, so Missy is recommending an Optimus group road trip. Everyone meet in Hawaii to cuddle a cow, Adam.
Let's do it.
Started a movement.
You organize it, I'll be there.
Let's see. Let's ask this. Damasio, are you at a point where you can go a day without thinking about this tragedy, or is it still on your minds a good deal of the time? Um, looks like Adam's thinking, so let me answer first. But really, I'm more interested in Adam's response than mine, like you probably are.
My my response.
Wait, I'm going first to give you a chance to work on yours.
Go ahead.
I can go a day without thinking about it. I don't want to. That's why I appreciate bracelets. That's why I appreciate reminders. I appreciate that Kimberly named a star after Tylee and JJ. I appreciate being able to do this podcast. I got this in the mail today, a similar topic, slightly different. It says, you probably can't see it, but it says 22 a day, veterans' lives matter. I like things that I want to remember like that. And I appreciate what you're saying, Damasio. You're probably asking along with that, can you go through a day without feeling the burden of the trauma along with it? What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, definitely. There's days that you can go a whole day and feel good about your day without getting thinking about that. Obviously, I wear bracelets as well with Tylee and JJ on there, so people ask me about it all the time. So I constantly reminded of them every day. But as far as the feelings that I had 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, or even a year ago, are just, my feelings are changing all the time. So thinking about them, I think about them very often. But as far as the hurt, I guess it's not as bad.
Because look at all the opportunity we've had to process it, and that helps. That's helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for caring, and thanks for.
It's a good question.
Yeah. Here's a good follow-up to that from Nancy Morales. There's negativity everywhere in all facets of life. Unfortunately, true. To be where encouragement and positivity in the face of personal trials prevails is refreshing and magnetic. That's why our community is so great. It's so positive. So, yes, thanks for that observation, Nancy. Thanks for being a part of that. Oh, head case. So Shady Lance tells us if we look on the back of our bags that she gave us, Adam, it's signed the head case. There's that.
Oh.
And she said, I'm so happy I'm not crying like I was in that Zoom. That was a rough day. Thanks again.
So Shady Lamps was in the Zoom with us on our Patreon. Every other week we do a Zoom where we get on and just talk about everything. And she had some moments where she was telling us about, things that happen in her life, which I love to hear what other people are going through and what they've been through. So yeah, join us on Patreon so you can be part of that group. Thank you for sharing all the stuff you shared with us. It's helped me a lot.
Definitely. Let's see. Again, trying to catch up with some of the comments here. Here's another idea for a guest from Diane L. Maybe add Mike King from PE with Candace. Mike King would have on anytime by himself, whatever. I don't always think about all the wonderful people we've had on the podcast. Now that we've been doing it a year, my memory isn't that great. And so we have a couple of volunteers helping us. And one of them is listing just who we've had on the podcast. And the other is listing all the topics we've had on the podcast. And we are thinking, trying to decide where to put the list so any of us can review them anytime. And we might put them in the descriptions here because there's a lot of space we can do there, but probably we'll just do a landing page or a website where anyone can go to it at any time and see the list. But Mike King is one of those guests that we just loved having him and would love to have him more. And Tom Evans and all of our guests are optimists. The optimists we've had wonderful optimists on. Um, so, yeah, that's a good idea there, Diane. Many other people we we can think of. Ana Franco is catching up on the grandparent thing. I think grandparents see their children in their grands.
For sure, right?
Okay.
Do you see any of your grandchildren like your children? Like, do you see similarities between your grandchildren and your kid?
Yeah, similarities, yes, but no similarities both in looks and in action.
Sometimes opposite.
Yeah, and I'm not good at noticing that. Like, I can't tell people that look like other people, kids that look like their parents. I'm not observant like that.
Yeah.
But what I really like is just when they are like my children in the way that frustrated me when I was parenting them when they were young. That is fun.
Right.
And my daughter, who has just 4 little boys that are just active as can be. Well, I say little. One's 9 now. The twins are 7. Anyway, they're a little bit older. But a couple of them are really, really stubborn. And I love hearing her grabbing them and saying, "Really, you're going to be that stubborn? Who do you think's going to win this between you and me? Where do you think you got that stubbornness? You got it from me. You are not going to win." I just love interactions like that between them.
That's great.
And so, in that sense, yes, I do see their parents in them. Let's see another grandparent one here. Tennis Girl 101. Grandparent get along best with grandkids because they have a common enemy.
Common enemy?
Yeah.
That's funny. And we need to change your name from tennis to pickleball. We're switching. Everybody used to play tennis. We move everybody to pickleball.
Oh, Tennis Girl, be advised.
Be advised, Tennis Girl. Off the tennis court, onto the pickleball court.
Yeah, Black Widower. Follow-up comment from before about teaching your children to process their emotions. Valid point here, Black Widower. Wider. That's like Black Widow with an R at the end instead of a W. So I don't know how to say it.
You can't.
The point is just as valid. Parents need to learn how to process their emotions, then teach their kids. Definitely.
Yeah.
We need to learn that as parents, and then teach our kids.
Yep.
Great point there. And following up on that point from Lavender Blue, it has to start at home. Teachers have enough on their plates with behavior and curriculum. Unfortunately true. And I mean, with teachers having enough. Fortunate, yes, it does need to start at home. So parents need to be aware. Now, I'm going to take this opportunity because if you've heard more than 2 of our podcasts, you've heard me at some point talk about following your internal guidance system or your conscience. Unfortunately, I became aware of that later in life. And when I wrote my book, there are several times I said in there that parents, I mean, where do you learn to first go to your conscience? Because I never heard that from anyone, and I had to learn it the hard way in life, like most of us do. I have loved hearing my children teach their kids about following their internal guidance. My children teach their children that. I didn't teach my children that, so I don't know where they got it. Maybe they scored a copy of the book. I don't know. I don't want to take credit for it. They might have figured it out on their own. But that's another case where we need to learn that so we can teach their kids. But I like this discussion. Thank you, Lavender Blue, for adding to it. Another guest. I know we're jumping around a little bit, but that's what we do in life, especially as the time draws close. From Jaylene Finlayson, lawyer we know, interview him. Lindsay is on that one. We were in hot pursuit during the trial, but the timing was too hot for him then. But Lindsay, maybe we can follow up with that one. Thank you, Jaylene, for that.
We had on Lawyer Lee, and a lot of people loved the interview that we did on Lawyer Lee's podcast. And I know she's about true crime, but I thought we got some good basic knowledge out of her. That she may be somebody to interview.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she have her husband passed or something?
Her husband passed away about a month or so after we talked with her.
I would love to get her on just to pick her brain about how she's dealing with it and how she's healing from it and stuff like that. So maybe Lindsay, you can get Lawyer Lee on as a guest.
Lindsay's getting more work assigned to her out of this podcast than she does in our meetings.
Carpal tunnel, she's just writing all this stuff down super fast.
Now, Missy makes this comment, maybe a little late to the dance, Missy, or maybe you're just pointing it out to people. How many are aware that we have more than 14,000 subscribers now? Woohoo! I'm proud of this milestone. Yes, me too. That happened a couple months ago. But yes, still we're celebrating at any point. In fact, we went up, and then when the Chad trial was over, we've gone back down. We went to about 14.4. We're getting back down to about 14. We're just above 14,000. Now, let me capitalize here on Missy's last part of this comment. It says, I hope we can grow this community to help reach others that need this channel as much as I do. Yes, Missy, definitely. And here's what I want to say about that. We decided this week we're going to start doing themes. And we're going to start focusing both our podcasts and a little bit of marketing with some shorts that we're going to send out on social media. We don't want to grow the podcast. You and I have said this before, Adam. We aren't growing it because we want more numbers. We're growing it because we want the right people, and the people we want are the ones that are here that are looking for healing or have experienced healing or want to support other people in healing. And yes, we'll still comment on the trials when they come up, and we'll keep that going, but we're focused on hope, finding hope and healing resources. And the first thing we're going to do, starting right around September 11th, 9/11, is we're going to bring in more resources and pay more attention to people with post-traumatic stress. Now, they may also have the disorder, but we're focusing not on the disorder, PTSD, we're focusing on the post-traumatic stress and relying heavily on Ben and Alice's expertise. And we're going to get people in here in the podcast, and we're going to get lists of more resources for people that need those particular resources. So we will try to grow the community, but we're doing it very deliberately, not just, hey, everybody come here to our podcast. We want to find people that are looking for what is so miraculous about this community.
Yeah.
So thank you, Missy, for acknowledging that. And we have 2,400 in the Facebook group too, I believe. So
yeah, it's grown.
Yeah, the 14,000 that has grown. See, Kim Nix is another person here. Thank you, Kim, for saying this. I watch every episode. I just don't comment often. And see, most of the people in the community are just like Kim Nix. And we appreciate everyone that's in the community.
Unfortunately, you have to hear me and Rex do most of the commenting.
I know, that is unfortunate, isn't it?
Yes.
Here's a great comment from Stacy McCall. If my trauma starts to creep up on me, I choose to turn it to good memories, and the day becomes good.
Yeah. it's amazing how that happens like that. When you start going, if you get depressed or you start getting anxiety, if you can change your brain, and we talked about that in one of the podcasts, how to mentally change your brain from what it's thinking to something else. If you can do that and get out of that dark place and go right to something that's great, that makes you feel good, and stay with that, your whole day changes. And so I don't know if Ben mentioned that, if that's a part of the brain that if we can, I don't remember how to get to that or how to do that, but I think there's a way to do that.
And another tip, Adam, from Jaylene Finlayson. I had 4 EMDR treatments. It really saved me.
That's amazing.
We've talked about it. So EMDR, you'll hear more about it here on the channel also. Thank you, Jaylene, for sharing that. Brenda Folda asks, when is Lori's trial in Arizona? Scheduled now for February of next year in Arizona. There it is. Back to the head case. It has to feel weird on people writing books on your story. I would struggle. Y'all are so strong. I guess other people writing books on our story. Yeah, it definitely feels, well, Adam, you comment on that because that affects you more directly than me.
Well, it's people that are writing things about the story, what their perspective is, and since they didn't grow up with Lori or know Lori, how valid is it? What are they saying? And a lot of it, it's hard to read just because I don't want to say there's lies, but they just don't know. And it's their perspective. Anybody can write a book about anything, but unless you really have a perspective on something that firsthand, instead of listening for facts that may not be facts, or listening that somebody said this and then you report it in your book because you heard it from somebody. I'm not a huge fan of that. Yeah, it's hard to read those.
That was very diplomatic, saying you aren't a huge fan of those.
Yes, I'm not.
Oh,
but yeah, that's a great point that you brought up.
Yeah, it is. Lindsay's correcting us. More like 2,600. That's the Facebook group. I said 2,400. I stand corrected. I'm always happy to be corrected when I'm wrong, and sometimes even if I'm not wrong, I don't mind being corrected.
But everybody, we're running out of time. But too, I do want to tell everybody to go watch that podcast if you haven't seen it yet. It's up from Tuesday with Gabby's parents, Nicole and Jim. If you haven't seen the video, if you haven't seen that yet, that might be something that could help you or help somebody else who may need to watch it.
Definitely, yeah. And Adam, Vicky, here in Rialto. You're still hometown boys. I told people on the IE subreddit about your podcast. Okay. Yep.
Wait, there's a Reddit for the Inland Empire in Southern California.
All right. So
maybe I need to get on that.
That is our hometown, both of ours.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Vicky, and hello. And
yes,
glad to hear from you. And she follows up and says, the fact that you two are doing a podcast in midst of this tragedy has made me realize how important resiliency is. I need to work on that. Good point. And Adam is a great example of resiliency because it has not been an easy path. Well, for anyone, but the closer you are, I think the harder it is.
Thank you.
Yes, there is a subreddit, he says.
Subreddit. All right, I'll look into it.
Okay, well, Adam, we're well over. I'm looking. There's still lots of starred comments that we didn't get to, as usual. Hi from Scotland. A few people saying thank you for doing the podcast. Yes, it's our healing. Usually our pleasure. Always our healing.
Yep.
But we love being associated with y'all. Let's see. Lee says, I just watched Adam on the CW Crime Nation because Lauren posted about that episode. Adam did a great job. Adam's pretty good on these things.
On TV?
Yeah, and this one's on the CW.
Oh, yeah. Doing some of these interviews like on 2020 and that they rent an Airbnb and you go sit in that room with a bunch of cameras and production people and directors and all kinds of stuff. And they just sit there and ask you a question. And then they'll have you stand like by the fence looking out. Like there's some odd things that go behind the production of those things. But I do take the advantage of doing that just so I can tell my perspective and my story, just because there's so many perspectives about this that maybe aren't true or maybe are misguided or misled. It gives me a chance to say what the truth is and what I know. So those are things that the reason I've done some of those interviews.
And we're glad you have. Okay, so Mad Cow's Moo lives in London. So great to catch alive thanks to insomnia. I was gonna say it's pretty early in the morning.
What are you watching? What are you doing up this late in London?
Yeah, it's probably 2 or 3 a.m. there in London. Well, good grief, we aren't catching up too well, Adam. Maybe we should just stop there. But we'll say, hopefully, those of you that are supporters of people in trauma will check in with the supporters group. Next one, Tuesday the 13th on Patreon. There's Silver Linings. We have keep watching for a post with Ben and Alice, just their family table conversations. Those will be short posts. And stay tuned for more coming from us. Anything I missed, Adam?
No, that's good. And also, if you join Patreon, for those of you who want to join, we'll be having a Zoom meeting next Sunday, and it's just a chit chat. There's no topic. Anything goes. As if the Patreons that know that we're on the last, anything goes on that. So yeah, we'd love to have you part of that.
Yeah, it's just enjoyable for us.
If you know how to join Patreon, ask Lindsay. She loves answering her phone. Call her, text her, let her know. Email her.
Or look at the link in the description.
For that, each one.
All right. Take care until next time.